You are now tuned in to Peach State TV, where any gym is home. www.peachstatehoops.com. Enjoy the show. Inside the Jump Off Plus here at Peach State TV, my man, National Director of Scouting, Kyle Moore, in the building with us. Been gone all summer, man. It's good to be back home. Big weekend here on deck with EBA Position Camp, Rising Stars Camp. Today's September the 1st, first day the college coaches can reach out directly to 2013 kids via Facebook, emails, talk to a lot of kids. We'll touch that here in a little bit. We'll also touch some 2012 activity, talking about Northwestern, Arizona, Katie Heckman out of Colorado, kid Kyle's very familiar with from Reese's Jesuit. A lot of stuff going on. We'll start with Northwestern. Kyle, talk to us about the week that they had, arguably the best week in the game with two top 150 caliber kids in both Maggie Lyon and Lauren Douglas signing on to play for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Northwestern came in big. Head coach Joe McCune picked up a verbal commitment from a kid that he basically spent all of July following around, and Maggie Lyon with that Midwest Elite team that had Jewel Lloyd and Taya Reimer playing for them. They won the USJN championship in DC, so a pretty successful summer team. Maggie's a 6'1" shooter, left-handed kid, real tough. Got a little game off the bounce. She's going to be a great, especially coming on the back of Morgan Jones. It's going to be great for them. And then you talk about Lauren Douglas, who's a kid from Tennessee that actually went to the same high school as Michael Orr.
Blindside.
Yeah, so she's got some folklore there to follow on with, but she also got a game. She sat out last year a good bit due to some Tennessee transfer rules. Ended up playing 3 high school games last year, varsity high school games, and scored 20 points in each game and took her team to Tennessee State Championship game in which they lost to Shadell Clay of Auburn and girls prep school. So nice little pickup, big week for them as they continue to try to build upon their success there.
Agree with both. I had a chance to watch Lyon, actually, ironically, on the campus of Northwestern, on the main floor there at Welsh Ryan Arena at the end of April. And, just tough. Shot maker, especially when she gets rolling, a little swing to it, not necessarily the most orthodox delivery that you see. But the bottom line is that it goes in. And then like you said about Douglas, it's been about 18 months since I've seen her play personally, but great in the open floor, gets up and down, can run, will give them a dimension that they didn't have with Carly Rose or Alex Cohen, Morgan Jones in the class before. And then obviously this class already with Kristen Johnson, bigger post, Lyon, more of a spot shooter with a little wiggle. And then you got Douglas, who could kind of play that utility role, fill some 4, maybe even play some 3 if she continues to develop her ball skills as she moves along. So moving on, Katie Heckman out of Colorado, kid that a lot of people have not seen, been out with an injury, did not play high school. I actually saw Jesuit in Arizona, TOC. She was not able to play, had just gotten hurt. But you saw her at Best of Maryland 2 summers ago. Talk to us about her and then her recruitment as well.
Yeah, Katie Heckman is, she's an athletic 4 player at 6'4". She's got the size to be a 5, but her game in the high post and her, just her overall athleticism with that frame, and she's a real strong kid. She's got a high ceiling and a lot of potential. Coming off of the knee injury, got a chance to see her play both at Best of Maryland and at USJN this year. So she got she's moving better and she's starting to get some confidence back in that knee. But she's a kid that she's taking an unofficial to Duke. She's going to take an official to Duke this fall. UCLA, Gonzaga, and NC State and Vanderbilt, are also her other 4 official visits. So obviously, with the pedigree of those schools, she's a kid that can play.
It's a pretty good list for a kid who hadn't played in a while, man. And you say she's got the tools to back it up, huh?
Yeah, she's gonna be a great get, especially in the week post class. This is gonna be a great get for somebody.
No, that's great, man. Well, moving on, talking to Arizona, a couple kids who actually are off the board and done there. Nairi Harris, they're out of Stockton, California. We saw her at West Coast Premier. You've also seen her a couple other times, but that was my introduction. And then Simone Westbrook, who we're both very familiar with, 2 guards who are going to make Arizona really fast, which seems to be the way that Coach Nia Butts wants to play the type of style, along with some skill. An Ali Rhodey last year in 11, a kid who can make some shots, a bigger post kid, but mixed in with those 2 guards. How do you think that plays in the newly formed Pac-12?
Yeah, it's going to be a great pickup. That backcourt, obviously you've got 2 kids that can score the ball a good bit. I think Harris and Westbrook are 2 kids that you can play together with another point guard, or you can kind of play Westbrook at the point. Harris is really scoring minded. She's got a sweet mid-range jump shot. She's a kid that everybody in Tucson is going to love to watch play. You know, they continue to build some things. They got Allie Road last year out of Arizona, the big 6'4" post player. So they've got some pieces where they're going to continue to compete and build something there.
Oh, I agree completely. And to add to that, I saw Harris this springtime, like I said, out at West Coast in California, go toe-to-toe with Mercedes Russell, you know, her Stockton Mustangs team versus Russell with game time before she made that switch to team concept. And Russell touched the first shot, and Harris was able to come back the next 2 trips down the floor, find ways to get to the hole and finish both times over the 6'5" kid who was our newly minted #1 player in the country with the ESPN Hoop Girl. So moving along, now we're talking more about 2013. We'll also touch 14 here for a second. Talk to us about 13s here on the first day here on September 1.
Well, you know, obviously 2013, a lot has been written about the top kids in that class. Mercedes Russell, Kayla Davis, Diamond DeShields, even Ataya Reimer, Rebecca Greenwell. Those kids have gotten a lot of attention, and it's all well-deserved coming off of a summer in which they won a gold medal with the U16s. A lot of them had a good amount of success on the summer circuit. One of the things I like about this class in terms of the depth is the quality kids that you find from that 20 to 60, 20 to 40 range. You know, you talk about a Kylie Smith, a local kid here out of Georgia, you know, a kid that's already scored 1,000 points in her high school career. I think she's up around 1,300 going into her junior year. You know, she can score the ball, she's tough, she's got that winning mentality. Then you move out west a little bit to a Jada Buckley, a kid from Iowa, and another kid that's, you know, proven that she's a winner on the summer circuit. Big games at Nike Nationals this year in which she was able to handle the point, to guard the other team's best player, and just find ways for her team to get a bucket. It's continuing in the Midwest. You got Alexa Kostanek, another kid that, you know, her sisters are actually going to be a rising junior at NC State. You know, a quality off guard, a tough kid, knows how to play. You know, you're not going to take anything away from Alexa Kostanek. You've got to actually go out there and earn it. And then you can even go up north to Minnesota with a kid like Rebecca Dahlman.
Yeah.
Another kid that's been able to do a lot on the summer circuit in her early career, and that we're looking forward to see some big things from down the line.
No, that's great, man. I had a chance to see, obviously, Smith locally, but Buckley and Dahlman as well this summer. Actually, both at the same event in Northwestern, was able to cover a lot of ground there with that particular event. Haven't seen Kostanek, but I remember watching her older sister play for the Cornhusker Shooting Stars with KK Hauser, who's now at Purdue as well. And if she's anything like her, and you've indicated that she is, that's a tough player to go up against. You don't necessarily want to see that one on the matchup sheet. She does everything that you can't count. You know, obviously a shot maker, but also the intangibles, the toughness, the grittiness to continue to make plays game in and game out. Moving on to 14, obviously we're just starting to touch the surface of that class, especially at the top, whereas in 13, I think that we can all agree that on any given day it could be Russell, it could be Reimer, it could be Davis, it could be DeShields at the top. Talk to us about 14. Are we looking at just Kelsey Mitchell, who's our newly minted #1 player in 14 with Hoop Girls? Are there a couple other people right there on the heels? What do you think about that?
I think 14 is going to be a fun class for us, you know, as a group to be able to watch grow over the next couple of years. Kelsey Mitchell right now is the #1 player in our ESPN Hoop Girls top 25. I think she's a kid that came out this summer and earned it, starting at USA Basketball. You know, whether it make the team, not make the team, she was great in the trials. And, you know, she's a kid that left an impression, had us all saying, okay, what are we going to get in July? And then came back and didn't disappoint. It's hard to say that Brianna Turner doesn't have the tools to catch her. You know, at 6'3", 6'4", she's a great athlete. She's got some things to work on skill-wise. I'd love to see her continue to become a better perimeter shooter. If she can start working on her ball handling skills, you know, to say that she's going to be a 3 at some point in her career isn't out the question. Even in that class further down the list a little bit, you got Jatera White, who's a post player. You know, she's got some USA experience, lefty. You know, good moves, starting to turn the corner there. And then, you know, there's some other quality play. Lene Belton's a kid that could continue to improve. You know, you got some other kids like Asia Wilson here in South Carolina. It's a kid that, you know, right now she's in that 14 to 16 range nationally, but continue to make a jump as she learns how to grow into her body. So it's a very interesting class and one that we're going to have fun watching.
No, I agree. And I think, too, kind of what you touched on with the 13s, that 20 to 60 range, the value picks. You know, you're talking about drafts, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, even for you fantasy buffs out there. You know, you want to find those steals and those value picks. And there are definitely some of those hiding in the 14 class. You talk about Michael Johnson, Jenna Burdett, both out of the Ohio, West Virginia area, play on the same summer team, West Virginia Thunder. You talk about a Kiana Harris that plays with the Miami Suns, Lauren Moses, Philly Triple Threat. A lot of those different kids all bring what we call varied value, different types of games, different things that they can do, that when you can combine them with a quote-unquote cornerstone kid, you put a Michael Johnson alongside of Kelsey Mitchell who likes to get baskets, you've covered all your bases. You've got somebody who can set the table, and you've got somebody who can score it. Johnson can also knock down the open jumper. You've done a lot of good things there. Well, closing out, talk to us about the impact of 2012 post Jazzy Newton saying that she's going to wait until the spring. This is the discussion that you and I have a lot in the office is if a kid isn't necessarily ready to commit, what does she gain? Right now Newton is at 66 in our 2012 rankings. What does she gain by waiting? Our National Director of Prospects, Chris Hansen, actually phoned in with that earlier today before we came here to shoot the video and want to talk about that here in the studio. What do you have?
Well, it's definitely something that I think more and more kids should start looking at. Not necessarily making an early decision, but making the right decision. If the right decision comes in August, if it comes to your first day of high school, well, whenever that right decision that's right for you and your family, I think Jazzy Newton's in a spot this year where she's going to be able to build relationships 6 months longer than the normal high school kid is because of the pressures to sign early. She's going to be able to start seeing who are the schools that are coming to her high school games, who are the people I can get on the phone with and really decide that, okay, this is the right system for me. I'm going to be able to watch some college games and then get on the phone with some college coaches because at that point they're making me a priority. And now I'm going to be able to start figuring out some stuff outside of just, okay, they've got a nice campus or they've got the right major or they've got a nice weight room, but this is some basketball. These are the things that I'm going to be doing for the next 4 years. And how does that impact what I'm able to do on the court, and how are they going to be able to coach me so I can be the best basketball player I can be?
Well, no, and I agree completely with that. We watched Newton battle with Candace Agee, who's going to Penn State out at the West Coast event in May, and I think all the upside in the world has battled a couple of nagging injuries, a couple of knee issues along the way. So, like you said, giving her a little bit of time, I think obviously there is, on some level, a risk that is associated with that waiting. If there is a school or two that you like, for whatever reason you get hurt, suffer a major injury, maybe those schools back off. But more times than not, I would agree with you. I think it gives kids an opportunity maybe to do something a little different, extend the process, see what kind of coaching changes there are even in the spring before making that final decision. Well, as always, thanks for tuning in. On behalf of Kyle Moore, myself, Brandon Clay, any gym is home.